Tiga Dam, the Chala Dam, and now the Hadejia Barrage are all water reservoirs being managed by the Hadejia River Basin Development Authority for irrigation purposes, water supply, and fishing activities for host communities. The Hadejia River Basin Development Authority was established by the federal government with 10 other river basin development authorities, covering an estimated land area of 45,000 square kilometers. The Hadejia River Basin has the largest functional irrigation schemes among the river basin authorities in the country. These irrigation schemes are located in Kano, Jigawa, and Bauchi states. In all, the schemes have a potential for development of irrigation farming for 212,000 hectares within the Hadejia and Jamare rivers valleys. The Hadejia River Basin operates 4 dams, reservoirs, and a total of 6 irrigation projects located within 3 catchment states of Kano, Jigawa, and Bauchi. The Hadejia Valley project, which largely draws its strength from the Hadejia or Kalgwe Barrage, is one of such projects located in Hadejia, located within Auyo, Kaugama, Miga, Kefinhausa, and Hadejia local governments. The Hadejia Valley Irrigation Project supports crop protection, livestock, and fisheries in the Malay farming communities inhabiting the area. The Hadejia River Valley Irrigation Project brought a lot of good tidings in communities living within its presence in 8 glorious days.
Over several decades, this area is popular in Fadawa farming activities. However, there is a strong problem which is facing the community, and this problem is nothing but the emergence of the taifa grass. Taifa grass is a serious weed which is affecting agricultural productivity in this area.
The problem is more severe in Jigawa, really. Upstream in Kano, the problem is coming up, but one of the greatest consequences of taifa is the level of flooding of farmlands and the blockage of waterways. This is very severe in Jigawa. While downstream in Yobe, the problem mainly there is the blockage in Jigawa that has resulted in drying up of the rivers and waterways, and that has distorted the lives of farmers, fishermen, and other resource users. So it's really a problem, and our greatest concern is that over the years, government has not given much attention to the problem, to the problem of taifa.
From Guri to Kirkasama, from Gishinau to Guri, there used to be about 500 herdmen, but now hardly get 50. Not only their number, even their reproductive capacity of their animals greatly reduced. They told us that their cattle used to calve 1 time in a year, but now hardly give birth to 1 in 2 years. Not only their reproductive capacity, even the milk, the quality and the quantity of the milk produced greatly reduced. What leads to that is taifa.
At the peak of its operation, farmers and fishermen in the Hadejia River Valley projects lived comfortably from proceeds of their tills and toils.
I have about 20 children, but I hardly got more than 100 naira per day, all because of this taifa grass. As you can see, all my efforts to have a good catch is almost impossible because of this menace. Quilla bats are too much here. Our crops have been seriously eaten and destroyed by the birds.
Because I have seen here, it's about thousands of hectares here. They are all soaked in water.
The problem you could see now is water flooding the entire area. Previously, people here used to grow rice, maize, vegetables, and what have you. Now it is submerged by water. And this has been brought about by the flooding that has occurred due to the diversion of the water route, that is the Hadejia River and the Malama tributary, which have been blocked by taffy grass.
It looks a beautiful weed, luscious, green, and very attractive. In fact, one is almost tempted to feel like you can eat it, but don't be fooled. It's very deadly. It's very vicious. It has taken over farmlands, impeded fishing, and disrupted the lives of the members of this community, who are farmers and fishermen.
Today, their stories have changed. Their lives have taken turns for worst. They grieve and lament over the past glorious era, from the vast, lush, fertile lands from which they produced vast amount of food and cash crops, and sold tons of smoked and fresh fish for inland export. Senator Muhammadu Bashir, Senator representing Jigawa North East constituency, is passionate about curbing the menace of the Taipa grass.
Because of the blockage, water has taken over the land completely. And then the area is already swampy. They can't farm anything. So people have lost employment. And that's why they have to move to cities. When they move to cities, and they get involved a lot of unholy practices. And that's why we're calling on the government to come to our aid and ensure this question of Taipa grass is taken care of. And the question of blockage of river. You see, this area covered more than 10 kilometers is covered in water. The water that is meant to go to Lake Chad is now occupying the farmlands. And that has been the source of continuous clash between farmers and the Fulani grazers.
Managing Director, Hadejia Jamare Basin Development Authority, Masood El-Jibrin Dogwa, gives a graphic picture of the Taipa infestation.
It is one kind of grass that we even call it a devil grass, because it occupies almost 60 to 70% of Hadejia, barrage, and it makes water very, very difficult at least to move smoothly, even to the irrigation, areas. And not only that, it constitutes a very, big problem even to the farmers, because along the feeder canals, the distributary canals, you find this type of grass. A grass that even stops water from moving. Then definitely you know that it makes fishing very difficult.
The Taipa does not manifest alone. It brings along with it koala birds and water rodents like snakes and crocodiles.
This Taipa grass has invaded the water and could not allow free access of the water, and then it has been inhabited by a lot of quilla birds. And these quilla birds are gradually destroying all the farmlands. And therefore we end up getting nothing.
The pests, such as quilla birds, used to build their nest inside the colony of the crop of the Taipa grass. By so doing, the quilla birds will now grow and then affect the yield of the crops, particularly rice. So which means it has double impact.
This is repeatedly caused flooding by farmlands and houses. Hundreds of riverbank settler communities have been displaced by the menace of the floods and Taipa. The fishing and farming communities in Gwano riverbank suffered severe relocation from flood displacements.
We are currently living without farmlands and shelter. As a result, our young men ran away to urban cities in search of good pasture.
This
is how we manage in this cold environment. Right now, my child is sick and I have little to take care of him. We encountered floodings for about 3 years. Now we are taking shelter in Bulaman's house together with our children.
The Garba community in Gwano, Yobe State, has had to relocate 3 times because of displacement by flood and Taipa from its original location, now completely underwater. Zanna Adinoma, or village head of Garbi, remarked that the village itself and indeed Guru town were built on the strength of water and land resources abounding there, which he sadly observed are not of much use to the people again.
The Taipa invested in so many channels along the river bank, which will not allow the water flow freely to the Lake Chad. Before we know, we are contributing 1.7% of Lake Chad water. But now, even 0.5% we are not contributing because of the blockages.
The area used to be a major rail transit point for traders in cotton, granules, cattle, hide and skin, gun Arabic and other goods, which were conveyed to other parts of the country and even across the shores of Nigeria. Today, the story is different. The once thriving, bustling rail transit settlement is a shadow of itself. The railway terminus really functions. The fishing community is now reduced for these skeletal operations, which cannot cater for the needs of the fishermen. They say they are managing to survive.
Our forefathers know nothing rather than farming and fishing. Now all this is gone. Hunger is disturbing us. I'm not old, but look at how hunger affects me. As long as this water is not controlled, we can no longer fish or farm.
Other threats to fishing communities around Guru area are the disappearance of many fish species, which they say threatens aquatic life there. They say only 2 varieties are now noticeable. The river water has become darker and not conducive for fishes that are disposed to clear waters. The BADE Malam Abubakar Umar Suleiman remarked the communities have been struggling with the siltation and removal of the Taipa for the past 8 years. He said government has been operating without involving the local communities, and hence the communities have been shortchanged, citing a 600 million naira contract for the silting, which, though awarded, was never done.
Ita gwamnatin Jigawa ta samu wani mashin daga Hadejia Jamare.
Jigawa State government has been cooperating to curb the menace of Taipa grass, but we need to join hands together to put an end to this menace. The only solution is to dredge the river completely.
Inhabitants of Marma in Krikasama area and Dawa in Guri local governments of Jigawa State are suffering similar disturbing situation as their counterparts in Guru town and environs. The 2 villages are only about 3 kilometers apart, but takes almost an hour to connect. The people have to wade through flood water and convey their loads on their heads to go where they have to. Only those who can afford use the ox cart to move across the area. They connect the outside world only occasionally, mostly weekly, when vendors in the community go to shop on behalf of the other members of the community. The petty traders who go to shop in the major towns pay heavily to move their articles of trade. The people of Marma and Dawa, who are major producers of rice, incur heavily losses of rice to floods. Apart from movement and communication difficulties, the people have repeatedly suffered massive flooding of farmlands and houses. Men, women and children alike connect to neighboring Guru town by boat. In Dawa, a midwife told this writer that she has recorded several deaths of women in labor because of the lack of roads and quick access to health care.
I used to receive delivery of women in this area. We don't have motorable roads, as only ox cart is used to transport pregnant women.
The plight of the people of Marma, Dawa in Jigawa State, and Guru in Yobe State reflects the circumstances of thousands of other people living in the Hadejia Jamare River Valley project, who are at their wits' end on how to tackle once and for all the recurring issue of siltation and typer. The colossal waste of land and water resources in the Hadejia Jamare River Basin can only be reversed with removal of the swamp devil, the typer grass, and the silting of the 3 main canals. The typer can only be removed with a machine, the swamp devil, which uproots and evacuates the grass.
There are a lot of factors that makes it a little bit difficult. One is lack of finance. Whatever we get from the budgetary allocation cannot be sufficient at least to control. And like I told you, it is one kind of grass that give it 2 weeks, even when you remove it. When you give it 2 weeks, it will just reproduce. Therefore, I think when we have enough finances, then we have enough equipment to even reduce it. I think we will be able to control it, because currently we have only one machine that we call swamp devil machine. The ultimate solution to the problem is we continue through the budgetary allocation to at least convince the government to give us more money. Then secondly, we'll equally convince the government to either give us the money to purchase this swamp devil machine, or at least even ask for a donor agencies to produce. And thanks to World Bank, I think it is included in their program whereby this control of typer grass will be incorporated into their services that they will do between the federal government and the World Bank.
It's a problem that cuts across states. No individual state can control typer because it cuts across states. These rivers cut across states. So it really involves it requires the involvement of the federal government in collaboration with the states and local governments, as I said, also with communities. If you dredge, you open up the waterways, the water gets out of those communities. That's one way to control typer, because typer lives on wetlands. Typer cannot survive on dry land. Once you drain the water, then typer is gone. There are communities that have been able to open up the waterways, and they have been able to control typer. But that is only on the short term, because of the dispersal mechanism of typer, because of the way typer reproduce vegetatively. You eradicate it. If your neighboring community has not done so, then the problem comes back.
Dredging of the river will definitely assist in clearing the weeds, as well as improving the flow of the water by desilting. The silting, that's the removal of the silt, removal of the soil within the water body. So it will also act, which means that in addition to the dredging, there is a need also to introduce chemical control so as to control the effect of the typer grass infestation.
If measures are not taken, while we are witnessing the global recession with respect to water system or the ecosystem, the devastation to the livelihood of the people is inestimable. And I concur with the call of my compatriots that government should move in, to take drastic action that will restore life in this area.
The typer has triggered a blockage of the water canals, which were also poorly constructed with mud instead of concrete. The way forward is a concerted, integrated approach by government, donor partners, states and local governments, and even concerned communities to be involved in wiping the swamp devil, the typer grass.
To duk gwamnatoci da suka zo suna alkawari, wasu ma har kuɗi suka ce za su bayar biliyan 10.
Many administrations have made promises, but still we are waiting for its fulfillment. Nothing is done for the continuation of this project. We call on President Muhammadu to come to our aid. This is our major source. Without it, we will lose everything. I want to assure you that if this project is completed, half of this country will benefit from it.
Because of the extensive nature of the grass inversion, the federal government need to take a very active role in providing the means in terms of funding and equipment for distilling the destructions of the typer.
Systematically, I want to assure you that at least when things takes off or took up, I want to assure that something more concrete will be done, and we'll see it on the ground. Of course, between not much, I think something more concrete, because now what they are doing is the study and design, because you cannot, because you have typha grass, you just go and start removing it without study and design. Therefore, I think they have already awarded the consultancy services to a more prominent consultancy agencies or outfits, and I think they are on it now. Immediately they finish, they submit the report, the contract will be awarded, and when it is awarded, certainly it is one area where the trimming, transforming irrigation management in Nigeria will take off. You find that all the canals, the feeder canals, the main canals, even the river reservoirs, I think will be definitely attended to in terms of infestation of this type of grass.
We want the federal government to come in and dredge the Hadejia Valley, Hadejia River, and then the Hadejia Barrage from Chalawa down to Lake Chad. That's what we're asking. And the issue is, unless this is done, everybody will get out of this place.
I'm begging the government to help us dredge this river. Whenever we need it for dry season farming, they should allow us to use it. When this is done, people will be coming to this area to tap from our wells. I want the government to help us to dredge this water against typer grass, as it prevents us from fishing.
We are begging for the government to intervene, because if government intervene in this issue, when it kills this kachala in Hausa, this kachala type, so when it has been killed, so all our lands will come out.
National donor agencies and other non-governmental organizations played a role in the fight against typer. At the moment, the current collaboration between the Hadejia River Basin Development Authority and the Jigawa State Government to remove typer is like a drop in the ocean of the typer reeds infestation in the wetlands. It needs several, perhaps hundreds of such operations to go anywhere near disabling the typer monster, which has gradually taken over vast fertile lands capable of providing food and employment to the people that badly need a helping hand.